I'll give you the injury updates. Will not practice today. Seth Van Pran, Max, Khalil, Jordan Hancock, Keontae Jenkins, Tylen Grable, and Travis Clayton, both in concussion protocol. Grant DeBose with a collarbone, which is, obviously working yesterday in his second day and then injured the collarbone. It's my understanding he will have surgery and be out, and then Steven Gosnell with a calf, so he will be out this practice as well. Limited will be Shaq Thompson as he continues to heal from the hamstring, Cam Lewis with the calf, Connor McGovern with the hamstring, and then we'll go from there.
That's a lot of wide receivers dealing with it more, even now dealing with injuries. Is bringing someone else in for the preseason game on the table, or is it kind of dealing with who you have at this point? Yeah,
we'll see. Obviously we're juggling. We've had some guys in, and then they've gotten hurt right away. So, and then going into the game, making sure we have enough numbers, to your question, at all positions, wide receiver being one of them, but at all positions so that we can find our way through the game here.
Will you be more open to playing guys like Curtis, Elijah, and Tyrell, understanding there's still an evaluation there with roster cuts coming?
Yeah, it's hard to say, make a blanket statement yes to everything or no to everything, but I think it's more on an individual basis, who we feel like we need to still see, who has not been out there enough, maybe due to injury in this case with Curtis. I would say he looks, good in his 2 days back to this point. So yes, from the standpoint of wanting to see a couple of those guys, and then certainly evaluate special teams pieces as well as it relates to certain positions in particular.
So this is more of an evaluation type of game, as opposed to getting any starters really in there?
Not totally there yet, John. Obviously, you guys know we're going to practice in the stadium. We're going to work together, ones versus ones, and get our reps up to the point where we need to have them this time of year, and then we'll make final decisions from there. It'll be on a case-by-case basis where that goes. I'm anticipating not playing all of the ones, but we'll see where today goes at this point.
John, did you meet with Gabe Davis yesterday, and how did that? Did you meet with Gabe Davis yesterday, and how did that go? Where does that stand at this point?
Yeah, from my standpoint, had a good conversation with Gabe, just getting caught back up on things and kind of his journey over the last year or so, and it was a good conversation, and then really from there, that was it at this point for me. I know he had did some other things in the building and with our medical staff as well, but for me at that point, that was it, but it was good to see him.
Does that up in the air cluster of players for Saturday include Josh or?
No. Yeah, no.
That's a bit of a change in philosophy for you. Josh is, or at least it seems that way, because Josh has played in some capacity in the preseason pretty much every year. Why was that something you were comfortable with changing now?
Well, number one, that's my job, is to adjust as need be, and you've got the reigning MVP, and I feel like he's shown to this point that he's in a good spot. Josh is in a spot where, he and I talk about that, and listen, he's always going to want to play. That's what competitive people want to do. They want to play, but I have a responsibility as well to protect him, and in doing so, protect our team. So, again, I think he's on schedule, and he's looked good. You've been out there at practice, and you've watched. He's looked good to this point, and I feel good about where he's at right now.
Sean, knowing it's a case-by-case basis, James Cook hasn't seen any real preseason action. Do you have any lean towards whether to get him some play on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't really want to go on. We can go all the way through the roster, person by person, if you want. I don't think that's probably the best use of our time. But again, I can promise you that when we go through it as a staff, everything's on a case-by-case basis. And right now, I'm not just going to make a blanket statement of, all the ones are playing, all the ones aren't, because that's not going to be the case. So that's the best I can share with you guys right now.
On with Van Pran-Granger, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought maybe the plan was to try to get him back for this last preseason game without practicing today. Seems unlikely. Is that still an option? And Is one of the lists maybe PUP or injured reserve at the start of the year a consideration for him at this point?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's a few guys where some of those conversations will take place. Right now, it's, he's in a situation where he's not able to go right now and probably not this weekend as well. So, we'll see where that leads us as we move down the road here.
How would you evaluate what you've seen from Alec playing center with guys like Cedric Al?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's for Alec. I feel like I'm a broken record here. I apologize, but it's like he just got back, so, he had some moments yesterday that I thought were really good, and then a few where you could tell he was, kind of just came back off of being out a couple weeks. So he knows that, and we have a lot of trust and confidence in Alec, and, I have a ton of confidence in him myself, and he'll get back. He just needs more time out there.
As a head coach, what's your overall mindset approaching the final week of the preseason?
Yeah, evaluation overall. It's almost like it's two-pronged, right? Evaluation, continued evaluation, making sure we have the evaluation right, wanting to see certain players, that are in competition with one another, and then this piece over here is trying to move our team forward, like today, and making sure that we are getting ourselves ready to go here as an overall team.
Sean, how have you seen Curtis respond since this is the first time you've seen him in team drills since camp
Yeah,
began?
no, he's looked good. I referenced this earlier, Joe. He's looked good. He came back, I think the first day there. He's been back 2 days, I believe, and the first day, looked good and, looked fast, looked fresh, which happens when you're not out there through the 18, 17 practices leading up to then, or 15, whatever it was. So, yeah, he's looked good, and now it's, hey, how does he look through the weekend here, and then what's the role, right? So everyone has to have a role, and how big or small is it, and what does it look like, and some of that's, with Joe and our offense, and working with Josh and getting that, rapport built back up.
Sean, the last couple of days I've asked some of your players and then also Joe Brady what they've seen from Keon at this point, and the answers were pretty, they were just really praising how different he is at this time this year. Do you agree with that, and what have you seen that has made him, show this maturity on and off the field?
Yeah, I mean, probably a really good question for him in terms of what's been the change. Listen, he has a lot of pride in who he is and what he does and how he does things, and confidence in himself as a competitor and a football player, and those are all good things. But at the end of the day, the work has got to be put in, and he put in work this offseason, right? Honestly, very close to starting with the end of the season last year. So, again, I tip my cap to him, because to say it is one thing, but to do it is another, and that's what separates a lot of people.
You've said time and time again that it all starts up front, especially on defense for you. How do you feel like that group has come together, learning to rush together, and starting to build some chemistry, a month into camp?
Yeah, we've got some new pieces, and within some new pieces, we've got some young pieces there too, and it's a work in progress. To say that we are right now where we need to be would be a lie. I feel like right now it's to be expected, right? Because when you're trying to, onboard new players, onboard young players, get them to develop, it takes time and reps, and then the symmetry of 4 players rushing well together, knowing where each other are going to be in the rush, that takes time as well. So we're getting there. It's work in progress overall. But they're working hard. I like the guys we have, confident in them. There's development pieces there that need to continue to move forward for us because of the youth.
What stood out to you about Joey Bosa and what he's brought since camp started? He's been on the field.
Yeah, football player. I appreciate Joey's focus. I appreciate how much he loves the game, and that he likes being here, and he's really easy to coach. It's not he's got very little ego at all, if any, and that makes the coach-player relationship really really flow well. And also, like, he's kind of a fun guy to be around from a sense of humor standpoint, so that makes it fun.
You made it a point on Tuesday in saying you're still looking for that person to play opposite T-Rap. How big is of a game is Saturday for a guy like Bishop?
Yeah, I mean, I think let's just be fully honest here. It's big for every player that is trying to make this team or make an impression on film, right? And I don't take that lightly at all. It's an important game for a lot of these guys, and I respect that. I honor that, and I want the best for all of these guys. I really do. I've told them this before. If you're in these seats, you've got the skills to get it done. So I'm looking forward to this weekend, watching them, watching Cole. Cole will play this weekend a little bit as well, so we'll go from there. But, again, I've said before, fully confident in Cole. It's the reps that he needs to create these calluses that you get when you're young and trying to grow in a position, and but being out there is how you get that experience.
Sean, you don't have to give a specific example, but you can. That's fine. Can you remember a time where maybe a guy actually won a job because of maybe the last preseason game? It comes down to a few guys. You have this whole month-plus evaluation, but you know what? He's making the team is what I saw in film this game.
Yeah, and I think that's Sal's kind of the cool part about the preseason, or even if you go back all the way to spring. We evaluate as coaches, we evaluate roster, we evaluate scheme, we adjust scheme. The piece of the evaluation of the roster is you could have a guy in the spring that looks great, but it's in shorts and helmets or shorts and hats. It's not really football. And then it's interesting to watch that evolution, if you will, through start of training camp then into preseason games, 1, 2, and now 3. And to your point, I've seen players who maybe didn't look the part back here, but when they get to over here and then the development piece, improvement piece from game 1 to game 2, game 2 to game 3, there have been players that have made that jump. And I look forward to seeing that. I hope that is the case for us. Our 2s, 3s, whoever it is, that someone shows us who they are and who they can be. And that would be great. It really would, and I look forward to that.
John, what's your sense of so far on Landon Jackson? I mean, we've seen Sanders and Walker have flashed a little bit. It looks like Landon has had trouble making an impact, at least in the brief time he's played the games. Where do you sense he's at right now?
Yeah, confident in Landon. He's a young player again. As we talk about youth, I've said it from the start. We're going to have to count on some youth up front in particular, and that's going to take some time. Again, I remain patient. I think when you play defensive end, there's more mental that goes with defensive end, the defensive end position, than D tackle, right? So that also carries a weight with it in terms of it takes you a little bit more time to get back to playing fast. And I think that's probably, him balancing some things right now. And I thought one of his best practices was yesterday, especially the back half of yesterday, and I'm encouraged by that. And he's very passionate about football, and doing well is important to him. And I think he's got the right wiring. Now we just got to continue to, kind of cut him loose and play fast.
Explain the difference then between edge and D tackle. What are you talking about when you say it's more mental on the edge?
Yeah, there's just more. There's more that goes with more playbook, more volume from checks to role definition of, hey, D tackle is mainly rush, mainly they don't drop into coverage. So there's other dimensions of the game that come into play for D ends as opposed to D tackles. And Landon's a smart guy, and he's a smart player, and it just takes a little bit more time. It's like if you equate it to playing middle linebacker compared to playing outside linebacker, or playing safety compared to corner. There's more mental processing that it calls for.
Coach, for you, what has been your most rewarding moment throughout camp this far?
Probably, honestly, like any coach, I would say, watching these players develop on the field, yes, but also getting a chance to be around them off the field last week in Chicago. Listen, I know the game didn't go the way we had hoped it to go, especially for some of our 2s and 3s, and I think they'll learn from that. But before that and around that, we had a great time, I think, just being around each other on the trip and spending some time getting to know some of these guys a little bit better, and maybe them getting to know me a little bit better, and their connection with each other. I think that's been fun to watch, and so I think that's all part of it so far.